Hey, welcome to the Top Deck podcast. I'm Dan,
And I'm Migs.
and we're just going to talk about games that we love to hate, and hate to love. Yes, that's a mouthful, but here we are.
Here we are.
Today we're going to do a bit of a conversation about Batman Arkham Asylum. This game to me has a lot of, I don't know why to call it, probably some nostalgic value. I've been playing it pretty much since release.
His whole childhood, pretty much, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah. My whole childhood was dedicated to a game, or a series of games, I guess. But the games after Asylum we'll cover at some other time. But yeah, we're going to be covering just some elements of Arkham Asylum that we think not that we think, but we're going to address, and gonna give it a score, our own, probably a little bit biased score.
Our own top deck scoring system, isn't it?
We don't know what the point system is going to be, whether it's 10 tops or 10 decks.
So here's a little brief overview on our point system. We're judging each game that we review on plot and script, gameplay, graphics and technicalities, world design and atmosphere, character design and voice acting, sound design and game score, and we got a few more in there, right? Where are they? There we go. Bugs or lack thereof, collectibles and achievements, extras and DLC, and lastly replayability. So that's 10 categories all in all, and each is out of 10 decks. 10 decks, I guess.
No, we've gone this far, I might as well just
let's go with it. Let's go with it.
So we've kind of tried to structure these so that they kind of blend into one another, make it a bit more of a smooth transition for you all, so it's easier to listen to.
Needless to say, this is our first time attempting something like this, so either you love it or you hate it, or you hate to love it or you love to hate it, right?
It's going to get old really quick.
I apologize.
That's alright. For validity's sake, we are both relatively experienced.
Well, I've done a hard playthrough, so I think I can maybe puff myself up a little bit there. But Danny has been playing this for, in terms of years, 10 years, isn't it? 10 years, yeah, and that's not an exaggeration, ladies and gents. So, yeah, a lot of experience in the game and a lot of things to say about it too. So, yes, without any further ado, let's go into it, eh?
Alright, well, we've got the plot and script to start off with. I'd like to disclaim that there are going to be spoilers in this.
Well, obviously.
We are going to be delving into all the nitty-gritty of the plot, of the dynamics and stuff like that. So, let's just get started. So, for those who don't know, the game starts off with Batman capturing Joker from some point, which City Hall is what was said he got him from, but that's kind of irrelevant. The point is, Joker gave up too easy, thinks Batman, and he takes him into the asylum. Joker escapes, la-di-da-di-da-di-da. Batman runs into a couple baddies, but Joker ends up harvesting.
Harvesting, really, right? He kind of designed it all from the beginning, the Titan formula.
Yeah, from Dr. Young.
Yeah, but long story short, he had a big master plan, just like, all these supervillains always do. And his plan in this specific game was to create a formula that, creates these overpowered, monstrous, massive beasts called Titans.
If you're familiar with the comic book character Bane, not the Dark Knight version, just the comic book.
We're talking about real comic books here, all right?
Marvel. I'm sorry, that was a fat overfit. It was not. So think of Big Bane, but like 1,000 of them. He's trying to create this formula.
Well, bigger, really, isn't it?
True, bigger, stronger.
But yeah, from a reviewer's perspective, we want to talk about how the script really was a page turner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And how it kept us wanting to find out more, and how it kept us hooked. Pretty much. Even 10 years after, it still kept some of us hooked.
Some of us, yeah.
But yeah, alongside that, we want to talk about a few elements that Rocksteady, in their infinite wisdom, used to help with, keeping the immersion consistent, pretty much. But yeah, when it comes to script elements, I guess one main thing that we want to talk about is how they, to a certain extent, mortalized Batman,
Yeah.
right? If that's even a word. But yeah, you see, throughout this whole game, we're given the idea that Batman is this amazing human being that can do pretty much anything, but at the same time, we really do get to see how human he is. Well, one element that Rocksteady used to push that bullet in was pretty much the Scarecrow encounters. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, for those of you that don't know, or for those of you that have forgotten, shame on you. But what Rocksteady did was they had these few segments of story, of gameplay scattered throughout the whole campaign, about 3 total.
Yeah, there's 3 total.
Scarecrow encounters, I think. Yeah. And within the first one, at least, Batman, he starts hallucinating, right? He starts seeing one of his friends, Gordon, dead. Firstly, right? And for a superhero in quotes,
Man in a suit.
yeah, it's quite interesting how they played on that element, because we got to see him go through grief. We got to see him go through uncertainty, even, right? He wasn't sure what he was doing, whether he was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And the fact that they used the script and the dialogue so convincingly to push that in, quite literally, was something that not a lot of us were used to back in 2009.
Yeah, I know. It was this unbelievable psychological adventure.
They just really kept us wanting more and more from the script, because they were just that good at it. They would just get that good at crafting a scene, crafting a plot, where, they didn't want us to pause the game and start eating a bag of crisps. We just wanted to see how it goes and how it ends. But yeah, that's one thing that I loved about the script. What about you, Daniel?
Yeah, of course the main script was amazing, because Roxy did a great job of interlacing all of Batman's other villains amongst that, and did a really good job of that. Like you'd involve Bane, then you'd involve Scarecrow, and then you'd involve Poison Ivy, you'd involve Victor Zsasz, you'd involve Harley Quinn. It was seamless. It wasn't forced, which I think was a really brave is the wrong word, but it was well executed, I believe.
Very true. Very true.
Now, obviously, when you start the game, you see Batman, and then you eventually see Joker, and you're in for a wild ride, because these two, as a combination, are just a dynamic duo that isn't a small bird.
Yeah.
And their relationship really matures, in a sense, over the course of Arkham Asylum and Arkham City.
Well, yeah, sticking to Arkham Asylum itself, I guess what we're trying to say is it's probably one of the best portrayals in, a video setting, right? Because, we've seen a lot of comic book movies over the years. DC's current lineup is, suffice it to say, it's not nice. It's not cool. It's not cool.
Yeah.
But with the Arkham game, specifically Asylum, because it was the first of its kind, right? Specifically with Asylum, the way that they just gave us that dialogue, that consistent back and forth attitude between Batman and Joker, the way they showed it to us, I think that's very important, because they started something that's been continuing for a long time now.
Yeah. It's this infamous two-man kind of thing going on. No pun, not
pun intended. Pun not intended. Is that what?
Pun not intended.
Okay.
Innuendo not intended, I suppose, is what we're going for.
But yeah, it's just it's so satisfying seeing the dialogue between, or rather hearing it.
Very true to the comics.
Yeah. Very, very accurate. Which is also nice. Something that the DC movies could probably learn from.
Yeah.
Right.
True. All the animated shows.
Yeah.
Obviously. Great job.
Obviously. But yeah, it's very satisfying watching dialogue between Batman and Joker, and even the other villains, right? Poison Ivy, for example. And I still remember that cutscene where Batman confronts Ivy after she escapes her imprisonment because of Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And it's just this intimidation that he puts forth, right? Here's a man, just a simple human being in a suit with a bunch of gadgets, threatening and intimidating other beings with these incomprehensible superpowers, right?
Yeah.
You have a woman that can literally control and talk to any type of plant, right?
Yeah.
A woman that could very easily probably just kill Batman, but it's not like he
With
cares.
ease. Yeah.
It's not like he cares, right? And that dialogue really shows us that Batman is just that guy. He doesn't care. He'll do what he wants to do, and he'll do it so he can get what he wants to get at the end of the day, which thankfully, I guess, for Gotham is justice.
I think all of Batman's villains have some kind of respect for Batman.
Obviously, fear even, right?
Yeah.
A huge amount of fear. Because with Ivy, even with Killer Croc, right? Yeah, Killer Croc tries to take him on, but he fails at the end. That's a lesson learned there, isn't it?
The determination of Croc to get to Batman indicates that respect, but the fear as well.
Yeah, because he believes that Batman is that big of a threat. He is a 7-foot tall monster, thinking
Probably
that.
taller.
Yeah, well, probably taller. Yeah, he's a massive ass monster.
Scary
just thinking that this little man is the biggest threat that he faces. But yeah, it's interesting to see how they just used a script to give us that idea and make us believe it.
Yeah.
Because I can very confidently say that just by reading that script alone, I would still buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the humanity of Batman Arkham Asylum is just very clear. Like, you wouldn't see that from Superman.
True.
He's an alien. How are we supposed to relate with that guy?
Yeah.
Batman is a guy with a passion. Passion is probably an agenda, something like that. And we've all had our own agenda, which we've done what's necessary to get that finished off. And Batman manages to deal with that in his very own way of, dressing up.
A very violent way, but
Very violent way, yeah.
It works. It's just crazy to think that 11 years ago now, we're recording this in 2020, right? So 11 years ago, they put that much detail into a script for a video game.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Back in the day, it was just shoot this demon,
Yeah, I mean, I love Doom just as much as the next guy, but you gotta admit, Arkham Asylum really was one of those games that gave attention to detail in a time where it was not that big of a deal.
Very ahead of its time.
True. On a side note, we've also wanted to talk about Riddler. It was a very good portrayal, I think, for the time. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Rocksteady felt inclined to give completionists a kind of drive.
Yeah,
play this game.
That was again through the script, right? Because on the same subject of Riddler, there was this one type of trophy that was part of the Riddler trophies. What were they called? Chronicles of Arkham, right? Yeah. And that was, funnily enough, it was a story about a side character that Rocksteady themselves created, which was well executed, very well executed.
Very
right?
broad, yeah.
And what happened was, for those of you that don't remember, whenever you scan those Chronicles of Arkham, you get a story, a part of a story. There were 21 total, or 20?
There were like 5 rows, probably like 20.
20
or something.
But point is, they were each a story, right? Part of the story. And them Rocksteady utilizing a story to keep the players wanting to find the next collectible. We'll talk about collectibles later, but the fact that they used a script to push that, to give that incentive, that was very smart of them, I think.
And it was cryptic enough to be a page turn.
Exactly. And it's crazy to think that, again, as I've probably said this twice or thrice already, but it's crazy to just think that this was 11 years ago.
I mean, here we are making a podcast about a game we love.
Yeah. It's been 11 years since its release. August 25th, 2009, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the Chronicles of Arkham. Really good way to introduce it. Really good utilization of a script to push forward a side mission. But lastly, I guess on the script, we want to talk about one specific part of dialogue or exchange between Batman and Joker at the very end of the game, at the very end of the campaign, at least. And that's Batman's denial to change into a Titan. Do you remember that part?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I may even ask. Why didn't even bother?
Batman jumps in front of a Titan dart that's about to go into Commissioner Gordon,
Mhm.
and Batman gets injected with the thing that he's trying to stop.
Yeah, yeah. And
And-
he has two options, which was either to lose control and become a huge raging bat monster, which would have been kind of cool, come to think of it. And his second option was use the cure that he had in his utility belt and fight it and not become a huge monster.
Yeah.
The point is, again, in terms of script, the fact that they used his dialogue between the Joker and himself at that point to better emphasize his decision was very very thoughtful of them, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
Because I remember within that point of dialogue, what was the Joker saying, Danny?
He said, "I just wanted to bring down your grim facade.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
here I am sitting in a corner and bleeding
yeah,
and giggling
yeah,
and so
something along those lines.
It-
Yeah,
It says that Joker wants to relate to Batman
Mhm.
in a sense, but he can't.
yeah. And what's important about the script there is, it to a certain extent, even through what the Joker is saying, to a certain extent, it shows Batman's duality, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It shows a really broken man, if anything, because
We've had the discussion that Batman is insane.
yeah, I mean, you kind of have to admit it. As much as you love the guy, he is to a certain
He's
extent.
bananas.
Yeah, it's off his mind. But what's important about that point in the script is he obviously chooses to fight it and use the cure, right?
Yeah.
And more than what he says, it's what the Joker says that really drives that home, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. It's because you see Joker suffering in that as
Mm.
well.
And that just adds to the whole dynamic between the two characters. And again, comic accurate. It's
Yeah.
a very comic accurate thing to do.
Because we learn that Joker doesn't want to kill Batman; he wants to trump him.
Yeah,
He wants to reveal Batman for his true self.
yeah, yeah.
I think Scarecrow wants that as well,
Mm.
but for a different purpose. I think.
And we do realize these plot lines and these ideas that these other characters have through the interview tapes as well.
Mm.
Again, a collectible. We'll talk about that in depth later. But again, it's script. It's script that they've used to push an idea forward.
Yeah.
And it's just so satisfying to see how well they do it. Rocksteady,
It is.
I mean.
It's a game. You know where I'm going with it.
Just say, spit it out.
It's a game that makes you feel like Batman. All right, there you go.
Makes you feel like
It's-
Batman.
Yeah. It's a quote that's been said like 300 times, but it's so true.
And I'm a firm believer of the fact that they didn't just use graphics or gameplay to make that reality come to life, right? They used the script a lot more than a lot of other producers and studios do,
Yeah.
and that's important. That's very important.
This game is what made me fall in love with Batman. No homo.
See, little home over here, maybe, but yes. But yeah, how much are we gonna score this script, Danny?
Again, it's amazing character dynamics, which we're going to talk about later. In-depth plot, mixing all the villains into one, really showing off Batman's rogues gallery. I'm happy to give it an 8
An 8.
or a 9.
Well, I think 8.5.
8.5?
Yeah.
You know, I'll settle for that.
8.5. So
8.5.
the script and plot of Batman Arkham Asylum scores 8.5 decks. But yeah, there you have it, ladies and gents. We'll be back shortly with what we think about the gameplay. Hope you enjoyed so far. And we're back. We're going to talk about gameplay next, right, Dan?
Gameplay, yeah. I mean, we're reviewing a game. It would be a bit of a disgrace if we didn't talk about the gameplay.
Might as well talk about the gameplay, right?
Yeah. All right, so when you think Batman, you think, okay, this guy punches stuff.
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. So
And I guess it's important that you need to have a solid combat system, right? Something that's rewarding and at the same time is easy enough for people to pick up and play, but also get better at it, right?
yeah.
And this is where I think the combat system in all the Batman Arkham games, at least.
I should also mention that this combat system was completely unique.
Yeah.
Up until this point.
Unreal Engine, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Unreal Engine.
Assassin's Creed kind of.
Yeah, just joined that, yeah.
And I think Mad Max did as well.
Really?
Yeah. I've seen quite a few games that do, X to attack and Y to counter and that kind of thing.
But, I mean, we can't be too sure whether Arkham was the first, but we can be very sure when we say that Arkham was one of the first to do it best.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's addicting is the wrong word, but it's very satisfying.
And rewarding.
And rewarding, yeah.
But yeah, the combat system was just so good. Obviously, there were a few bugs here and there, which we'll, again, address later when we get to that subtopic, I guess. But it was a well-thought-out combat system. And along that same tangent, Batman isn't always going to be the type that punches first and asks questions later, right? Sometimes he's just going to take you out in secret first and ask questions later. And that's where the Predator dynamics in the game and the maps were also very well done.
They each had their own little features, I guess, because combat had your quick fires, had your takedowns, had your stuns, your evasions, your all that stuff. Obviously, this is greatly expanded upon in future games.
Yeah.
Very much so. But again, Arkham Asylum really sets the scene for what Arkham offers you.
Yeah, and the Predator maps on that subject were very well crafted because we'll talk about this a little more in depth later, but it was very bad ones, right? Back then, obviously. It was the first of its kind. And the Predator maps were basically, Batman just trying to take out armed thugs without getting caught or shot at. And the way they did it was, you'd have these gargoyles that you could jump onto. You could also opt to just not go on the gargoyles and be all hardcore and stay on the ground. And the fact that there was that much flexibility in play style.
Oh, there is so much variation. There's so much diversity in what you can do in this game. It's insane.
Because even between me and Daniel, we both play in very different ways, I guess. And the fact that such an old game can encompass that and really allow that level of flexibility, that's amazing. Because you don't have to play in a specific way. You can play in whatever way you want to, right? And I think it's very important that they gave that choice to the players. Because that's something that a lot of games don't do even today, right? It's like, all right, you have to follow this specific style of handling these types of maps. But with Arkham Asylum, it was like, yeah, you do you, man. Do what you can.
Now, I hate to shit on Assassin's Creed. Don't worry, it's not Assassin's Creed 2, because I'm not of that. But Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but they had that full synchronization thing going on, where they would give you a challenge to fully complete. And that I found that really restrictive of what I could do.
That's a good example of what, games shouldn't have been doing, in contrast to Arkham Asylum, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Predator maps, God, such fun. Another thing is the detective mode, as another gameplay element that was pretty well executed. It got a little tiresome.
It did get a little tiresome, but that's understandable. There wasn't much else they could really do with that.
Yeah, and they were just trying to see, what we would love, what we would hate, right?
Yeah,
and they did it well enough that, whilst sometimes we did wish that we could move a little bit faster with tracking someone. Oh, also, some of them listening don't even know what detective mode is.
Yeah, true. So you find some evidence.
Yeah, and you track that across the map, right?
Yeah. Bit of scanning, bit of dialogue, bit of background if you're interested.
And then you stay in detective vision and you just go through the whole map and try to find out the source of the evidence that you scanned.
For instance, one time you can find Commissioner Gordon's pipe on the ground, and you can find some of the. There must be a pipe full of ash. But yeah, find ash in detective mode going across the entire island, pretty much. But yeah, you've probably heard the line "world's greatest detective." So
it was good that they had that element of gameplay and just to push it in a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, just,
There was another element to Batman as well.
yeah, yeah.
He's the guy with fists and the guy with the brain.
Yeah, you know, brain and bronze. They did it really well. Another interesting gameplay element was, you know, all the different gadgets that they had, right? Obviously not as much as, you know, Arkham Knight or, you know, even Arkham Origins. Do I want to say it?
We'll get to that later.
We'll get to that much later. But the gadgets and the diversity that existed in Arkham Asylum must be commended on for such an old game, right? Because you know you had explosive gel, you had your line launcher, you had your batarangs, and you had upgrades to those same gadgets, like you know you had selective detonations, you had remote control batarangs, you had so much stuff.
But even then, you got that stuff gradually.
Yeah.
Like you had your battering to start off with because Batman wasn't preparing for that event.
Yeah.
And then you got your explosive gel from the trunk, then you got your backflow from the Batcave, then you got your cryptographic sequencer from Warren Sharp, and it pulls you through with that so you can gradually adapt to the.
It's not overwhelming, I guess.
It's not overwhelming.
Yeah. Even though there's so much.
Like Arkham Knight overwhelms. You have so much stuff and you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Unless you played through Arkham Asylum City, Origins 9, you have expertise and all that kind of stuff. But
it was very well done again on that part. You know, giving us so much to use and letting us learn how to use them, even through the course of just one playthrough. Right?
Yeah. We did get a good idea of the variation available for every single gadget.
I remember my first time in Asylum. Geez, it was. And I was thinking, because I saw Knight. I played Knight a long time before I even touched Asylum. And it was just on a friend's PS4 at the time. And I remember thinking, good God, there's so much things to do. How do I do all of this, right? And I had that same mindset going into Asylum. And strangely enough, you know, it didn't do that to me. You know, it was like, all right, here's this. Here's how you can use that. Here's how you can use this certain feature of that same gadget. And just learn to use it throughout the course of just your first playthrough itself. It's very good on Rocksteady's part to do that.
Because apart from the cryptographic sequencer, I think every single gadget has multiple uses.
Yeah. There's a lot of things you can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gadgets. What else? What else can we talk about?
Well, free roaming is also an element of gameplay that's available in almost every AAA game past 2010.
Well, yeah, open world games.
Open world games, yeah. So free roaming with Batman and Asylum is alright.
A little claustrophobic sometimes.
Yeah, it is. But like the gliding that's given to you is good.
True.
But there's not. I can't. What's the word? It's not. It's taking out the last E at the end of free roam.
I kind of see what you mean there.
Yeah. It's not quite there. Like because I'm probably saying this because I've just been playing Arkham City a lot.
Obviously. It was the first iteration, right?
Yeah.
But not too shoddily done, I guess.
Yeah, of course. It was still nice to be able to glide and stuff and all that kind of stuff. And obviously going from A to B to C to A, all that kind of stuff. And
there was a certain ease of travel.
Yeah.
And if you were lazy, you could just use the line launcher like we do.
Yeah. Line launcher underrated, by the way.
Yeah, in Asylum.
All the new players. I never used the line launcher back in the day, but it's very underrated.
Especially if you're a lazy little donkey like Daniel. But yeah, that was free roaming. Oh, why didn't we even talk about this earlier? The boss battles. That's something that we need to talk about in terms of gameplay.
So off the top of my head, there's like 6 boss battles. So introductory Titan.
Yeah, first Titan. Bane. Was it Ivy? No.
Harley.
Yeah. So
kind of.
It's combat, but yeah.
Then you went into the gardens. Would you call that like not being seen thing?
I don't know. That's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. Okay. Killer Croc.
Oh god.
Poison Ivy.
Yeah. And lastly, the
Titan Joker.
Yeah,
Titan. 6. What do you know?
Yeah, 6. Not bad, Dan.
Not bad.
Kind of sad, but not bad. But yeah, the boss battles. Wow, the variation that you had in dynamics. You know, from one boss battle to the next. That's something that you don't see a lot nowadays.
You didn't have any repeating mechanics.
And even when you did, there was something you had to add to what you did before,
exactly.
right? I still remember, going through the Croc boss battle for my first time and just being so scared. I still am. Are you still scared when you play?
I was terrified my first time. Remember, I had someone around at my house, and I said, "Oh, here's this game. You do this bit," because I was actually quite horrified of getting caught by Croc. I mean, it's not that bad. It just have your battering prepped. Don't quick fire. Because you're gonna get
learned that the hard way.
Messed over for that one. But yeah, everything is different. You can't be prepared.
Very true. Very true. And it again puts you into that Batman mindset, right? Because you have to think of a way out.
Yeah.
It's not like the game spoon feeds you.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't hold your hand. Arkham Knight. We'll get into that.
You don't have a bat tank to solve all your problems. But no, we should leave that. We have a lot to say about Arkham Knight, which we will. If you follow this podcast, you'll hear it eventually.
Bless your soul if you do.
But yeah, the boss battles underrated sometimes. I think.
Underrated. I don't think Asylum gets enough credit for boss battles or its gameplay.
And keep in mind, these were original concepts because Asylum didn't have anything to copy paste from. Yeah. Right? Exactly. I mean, for those of you who have played long enough, you know what we're talking about. We're not going to say it out loud. But, it's just that pure originality of the games and the boss battles specifically on this subject that makes it so satisfying to play.
It does.
But yeah, in terms of gameplay, what are we gonna rate this, huh?
Well, I know you've always talked to me about Asylum, and you go back for the sake of training, and you even that concept in itself says a lot. Yeah,
about how good the gameplay mechanics are.
Yeah.
So I guess out of 10 decks, they're gonna have.
I'm happy to give it a 9.
A 9? 8 for me.
8? Great. Another 8.5 decks.
Another 8.5 decks. There we go.
Alright.
And yeah, that's it for gameplay. And we will join you shortly with graphics and technicalities.
Graphics and technicalities it is. Before we start, well, we already are starting. Batman Arkham Asylum was outrageously ahead of its time. I have never seen such good graphics for
a game that old.
A game. Or, you know what? Even all the games. 75% of the games. Like Arkham Knight. Miggs here is a huge graphics nerd, and he still loves Arkham Knight. That was a 2015 game, and it's better than half the games that are out.
Very true.
Today.
God, very true. Avengers. God, that test gameplay still hurts my eyes.
Yeah, I know, right?
But yeah, graphics in terms of Arkham Asylum, wow. Just wow. The textures, the materials that they use, the variation between just those two elements for something that old is something that you really have to give credit to, right? Because keep in mind, these poor chaps at Rocksteady were revolutionizing game graphics to a certain extent with what they did with this game, right? Because they wanted to give you an environment where you could feel immersed in, right? Where you could really jump into your character. And in order to execute that perfectly, you have to have good graphics.
Yeah.
It's a necessity, right?
It is.
And I still don't know how they did it because, technology at the time isn't what it is today, right? Back then, them having a computer with the same capabilities as my laptop right now that I have in front of me would have been unheard of. And they still pulled it off. They still did everything that they did. And yeah, it's so satisfying to play Asylum just because it still looks good. Because a lot of the times when you play an old game, then you have to remind yourself, it's old. I'll have to deal with some bad-looking graphics, but it's all right, But with Asylum, there's none of that.
I mean, it doesn't completely hold up to the 2020 standard.
True, obviously.
But 2009.
Yeah.
I was
Blown away.
8.
Oh my god.
I was 8 at that time. I didn't know what fucking graphics were.
Yeah, and
Friggin' graphics.
the best part is, that replayability is linked to how good it looks. And again, we'll address that later, but it's so satisfying to play Arkham Asylum because of how good it looks. And alongside that, the optimization, it was obviously it's one of those games that's kept at 60 even on PC because it was released on consoles first. But it's still very well optimized, right? Because I can still play it on my new laptop and it's still fine, right? And I can still play it on an Xbox 360 and it's still fine, right? And that again is a very important thing because a lot of the times when you have these old games, optimization is a big deal, right? And everyone has the memes about Crisis and how hard it is to run even on today's systems. And yeah, while it's a beautiful game, when you have a beautiful game that runs well, I think that's a little bit more valuable. Wouldn't you agree, Danny?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I would love to see some of the other developers' faces that aren't in Rocksteady when they released a game in 2009 with beautiful graphics and like, oh my god, I've never heard of Rocksteady. These guys came out of nowhere with a AAA game, and they're doing amazing. I think Rocksteady deserves a bit of a
big round of applause for that. Yeah. Animations. That's another.
Thing. You might have heard the story if you follow the Arkham kind of thing. But there was this one guy, this one poor sod at Rocksteady who spent like a year animating Batman's cape.
Really?
You didn't know this?
I didn't know this. He spent a year animating Batman's cape.
A whole year. There are so many animations he had to code.
Oh my god.
If you've seen some of the older Batman games before, it was so bad. There was weird clips. It went all jittery and stuff. This poor man planned out every single thing. And that scene that we were looking at before, imagine that. The scene where he jumps off that.
Yeah, oh my god. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that brings us actually to cutscenes, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like the fact that whilst they also had all these dynamic animations, like when you do a takedown, it's different. It's always going to be different. I think there are at least 3 different or 4 different types of animations or takedowns, right?
Oh, more than that.
More than that, right? Yeah. Sorry, but yeah, there were so many different types of animations, and whilst maintaining that level of diversity, they also gave us these beautiful cutscenes.
Beautiful.
Right? And when I say beautiful, I don't mean it in just the sense that they looked good. I mean it in the sense that it didn't break from immersion. It was seamless enough because it looked almost the same as the game world, right? Even though they were pre-rendered.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important because when you have these beautiful cutscenes that look better than your game world, when you get out of the cutscene, you're like, that was nice, but I'm back looking at this sad little screen. But with Asylum, it wasn't like that. It was never like that at any point in the game.
It wasn't. The lighting remained the same. All the textures, they weren't rendered differently.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, cool, there's a different camera angle now. I'm not in control, but it's still the same Batman.
Exactly. And that really helped with selling this game to people, right? Even to people who are playing it today, right? Yeah. It really helps with that because you're not breaking your line of thought from, oh, I'm playing as Batman to, oh, I'm watching Batman. Even though you're not controlling Batman in those cutscenes, you still feel like it because it looks exactly how you last saw it.
Yeah.
But
because we're here to play a game, we're not here to watch a movie.
Yeah. But yeah, that was cutscenes and a few other, I guess, points that we could talk about. What would it be? The HUD, right? A pretty good HUD for the time. Basic enough, and also gave us enough information. Detective vision, how they would mark the guards with guns and whatnot.
Yeah.
Useful. Very useful.
Unseen before as well.
Again, yeah. Be ahead of its time. Everything was ahead of its time with this game.
Crazy, man. I love like the orange and black thing going on with the HUD. I'm kind of
nostalgic.
Yeah, I mean, I wish they kind of continued with that a little bit because it's rustic is the wrong word, but it's
old school.
Old school. It's comic book.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
You do feel like you're in a comic book when you're leveling up your character. You're looking for Riddler trophies, or you're doing all that kind of stuff. I think it's really well done. Obviously, the tech division, like you said, it's got so many different properties, and it's so useful.
Mm.
I mean, obviously, practically, it's a bit.
It's impossible. I mean,
Yeah.
but you don't think that when you play it, do you?
Yeah.
It's just wow.
Oh, I'm Batman.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
That's all that's going on in
It makes
your
me
head.
feel like Batman.
And yeah, even on the subject of cutscenes, God, do you remember that one cutscene where you're going into the Batcave?
Yeah.
For those of you that don't remember, it's when you go past Dead Man's Point,
You
right?
probably play it for them.
Yeah, we'll play it for you. But yeah, it was so satisfying to watch Batman just dive out of that fucking cliff, spread his cape and just glide into the cave, all badass and whatnot.
And he was just so chill.
Yeah, just,
I was like, oh yeah,
I'm Batman,
cup of tea.
It's just beautiful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. I could still watch that cutscene today or 10 years from now and say the same thing. Because I have nothing bad to say about it.
Yeah, me neither. It's probably one of the most beautiful cutscenes in the Arkham series, I think.
And it's very, very interesting to see a studio do something like this and maintain that attitude, because it's an attitude that's been consistent with a lot of the other games, with both other games that Rocksteady have released. But yeah, I guess that wraps it up for graphics and technicalities.
Yeah. I think I'm going to let you score the graphics because you know a lot more about graphics than I do.
I'll go first, but I want your score as well.
Right.
You know what? Given that it was old, and given that it was from a time where the type of stuff that they did was unheard of even, I'm actually going to go out on a limb and say 9 out of 10.
9?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm actually just going to join on the bandwagon because
All right.
Because I'm a bit of a sheep, I guess. Yeah, so 9. We're currently sitting at 26 decks out of 100 decks.
But yeah, that wraps it up for graphics and technicalities. I guess we'll join you again with world design and atmosphere. But yeah. And we're back with world design and atmosphere and Batman Arkham Asylum. Wow. Not much to say on this, but it's more of a quality over quantity type of thing when it comes to this subtopic with this game. Before anything else, the immersion, I guess, is what we should talk about.
Unbelievably. Like, every single region that there is, you feel a certain unique sense of immersion.
It's the color, right? It's the color and the lighting and everything, a combination of all that gives you this atmosphere.
Yeah.
Right? Slightly green tinged sort of atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and like in intensive treatment, it's grey. And in the medical facility, it's like cream.
Mm-hmm.
In penitentiary, it's like a darker grey, I guess.
Yeah.
Botanical Gardens is much greener, obviously.
Obviously.
Plants, lol. Sewers is brown, and Mansion it's like a red, kind of.
But see, the thing is, Danny, whilst maintaining those different sort of white balance approaches to these different regions, they still had a consistent theme, right? They still had this. It's hard to put it into words, really. Well, we'll put up a few clips or whatnot for y'all to, just see for yourself, right? As in to see what we mean about what we mean when it comes to the immersion factor. But it's just this consistency that they had throughout the regions, just really put you into that mindset, right? And as much as I hate saying it, really made me feel like Batman. But no, it's true. It's true.
It is true.
I sound like a meme, but it's true. And yeah, it's such a good atmosphere. And again, that is bad. There were limitations here and there.
Of course, it was 2009.
Yeah, it wasn't as big of a world as we would have loved, obviously. But boo-hoo, it was an old game, we kind of had to take
They were at their limit, really.
Yeah. I mean, even then it was, 20 gigs or 15 gigs? right?
It's I think it was I downloaded it today. It was like 10 gigs. Yeah.
10 gigs. I mean, even then, it was a big amount of space, right?
Yeah.
We're talking at a time where a 500 gigabyte hard disk was like, oh my god, right? Yeah, I mean, today we're chilling in like 2 terabyte hard disks or whatnot, but back then it was a very different story, and they were already kind of pushing their own limit of how big this game could be. But yeah, I mean, I guess I would have loved to see a bigger Arkham Asylum.
Oh yeah, yeah. But at the same time, they managed to just nail the claustrophobia.
True. They use that limitation to push forward another dynamic, which is the claustrophobia that you faced when you're in Asylum.
Yeah, exactly. And like when the elevator falls at the beginning, imagine being down there without a cape.
Yeah.
You're stuck.
Yeah.
With a bunch of inmates.
Yeah.
And that is frightening.
Mm. And what added to us realizing and feeling that claustrophobia is again the atmosphere of the game, right? Because it was that well executed. But yeah, I think that wraps it up for world design. Anything?
Yeah, I just want to say like it's got memorable locations.
Very true.
Like when I think intensive treatment, I think or ding a ding dong.
Ah, yes, that recurring.
Or like the slight buzz.
You know what? We'll play all these sounds.
Yeah.
You'll hear it. You'll hear what we mean. But wow, such satisfying atmospheres in Asylum to play in.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, how are we gonna score this?
It's hard. Again, it's an old game, so I don't want to score low, but I don't want to be biased and score high.
Yeah, let's be as clear-minded as we can.
Yeah. So, playing this for the first time, realizing it's old. It's claustrophobic. I'm maybe 7, 6.
6.5 for me.
6.5. Well, I was already hovering between 7 and 6 in the first place, so
all right.
6.5 it is.
6.5 it is. Cool. 6.5 decks for world design and atmosphere. Yeah. Stay tuned to hear us talk and ramble on about character design and voice acting.
Things get spicy, boys. Character design and voice acting. The best, well, not
One
the
of
best
the
part.
best parts.
One of the best parts. There's so many best parts of the Arkham trilogy that I can't even begin to list them all out. For those of you watching the animated series before Arkham Asylum came out, you'd be very familiar with the names Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. These two hold a special place in my heart for the best Batman and the best Joker.
Not just you, myself as well.
Okay, well, Meg's heart is also full of Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. Kevin Conroy plays Batman, Mark Hamill plays Joker. I think they both had about 30 years of experience with the characters.
Jeez, 30 years?
I think so. Don't quote me on that. I'm probably wrong. I generally am when it comes to time. But yeah, they do a fantastic job. Obviously, they know each other personally, and that relationship between each other is unmatched.
The fact that Rocksteady went the extra mile to get these two specific voice actors for their video game says a lot about how much thought and love and care they put into the game.
They had passion for Batman.
Exactly, yeah. And obviously, them using Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill was a huge selling point for this game.
Oh, yeah.
Because truth be told, I wouldn't like playing it if it weren't either one of them, acting their respective roles. Because they just do that good of a job. It's like they were born for this almost.
I mean, hell, if I saw a Superman movie, not movie, but an animated movie, and Kevin Conroy was had an appearance, and oh yeah, I'd watch that movie. I want to hear Kevin Conroy go, "I'm Batman."
Yeah. But leading up from that, the comic accuracy that they had within within the character design, right? With Joker's outfit, with Batman's outfit.
It's so comic accurate.
It really was. Their movements even, right?
I know, it's like they took this ink from the comic. This is a really great analogy. And
use your words.
and they pulled it right into digital format, into pixels and LEDs. Good job, Daniel. There you go.
But I mean, what Danny's trying to say is they were comic accurate to the point where it was probably a pain for them to even animate all of it.
Yeah.
But they did it.
Paid off.
Paid off very well. Very well indeed. But yeah, alongside that same topic, you know, the thugs war. It gets a little boring sometimes hearing, it's the bat. But, you know,
Put your face right into the ground.
it was still all right, you know. Yeah. You can't hope for much different dialogue because there's only that many sound files they can record.
Yeah, and at the same time, there was probably like more than 30 different voice lines. We've played so much
that we're just used to
hearing.
Yeah,
and
true.
It's probably engraved into our brains. So.
But yeah, Scarecrow, that was another well done character design.
Amazing. It was very unique as well. I mean, he didn't go for like the Scarecrow hat and the full-on rags like you'd find in the cornfield. Yeah. They definitely managed to capture the fright.
It was like a nice hybrid between Christian Bale's Batman Scarecrow and the comics, right? It was a good hybrid, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It was interesting seeing Scarecrow shirtless, though. I had not thought.
Kind of hot, actually.
Yeah, hot. Man, those ribs, am I right? Spin me right round.
But yeah, the Scarecrow. Titan Joker, that was badass.
Yeah.
That character model I could stare at for days. It looked really good, really well done.
Yeah. Very gory.
And again, like, it wasn't from the comics, but it was so well executed to the point where you'd think it was from the comics, right?
Yeah. They were intentionally going to do like I'll put this in the video as well. They were intentionally going to do this much more thin Joker that crawled on all fours and still had pants on. Thank God.
For the
Titan Joker, yeah. But he was like much more thin with long claws, and it would kind of. Well, you guys can't see.
General Grievous from Star Wars.
Yeah. You make a fine You'll make a fine collection to my edition. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
But yeah, Titan Joker was well done. Warden Sharp, that's another good character model. Because it was original, right?
Yeah.
It was something new that Rocksteady themselves designed. We've said this before, but kudos to them for doing something well.
Yeah. I mean, obviously not my favorite character. Lacking in some areas, I think. But understandable given that.
I mean, obviously, when you try to add something of your own to an already existing comic book storyline, I mean, all of us know now it goes wrong. You know, just watch any of the new DC movies, you know it goes wrong.
Arkham Knight. Yeah.
But yeah, they did it well enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Warden Sharp. Riddler's thingy was also well done, right? So,
yeah. I mean, when you think of Riddler talking and like just Riddler having a conversation, you think of this voice that's given to us in Arkham Asylum. I think his name is Wally something, the voice actor. I'm not sure. Wally, yeah. He looks like a hippie. Really cool guy. Definitely not the type to solve riddles. I don't know.
But he sounded like it.
Honestly, the Riddler, while he's a pain in the butt sometimes.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, he's a really good character design, I think. And
the voice acting, I guess, is what. Yeah. We didn't see him.
We didn't see him at all, but
But the voice acting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he sounded just as narcissistic as we'd want him to sound.
Yeah. Right? Very comic accurate, just like everyone else except Warden Sharp, obviously. But back to Scarecrow for just a second. Do you prefer the Arkham Asylum Scarecrow or the Arkham Knight Scarecrow?
I think the Arkham Knight Scarecrow is scarier.
But the Arkham Asylum one is more comic accurate.
Yeah.
I find.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it, I think, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I feel like we haven't given Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill enough credit in this little thing because they can't get enough.
But for those of you who know, you know, right?
You know how much us Arkham fans value those two.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it wouldn't be the same without either one of them.
Just take our word for it that we could spend all day just praising those.
Definitely. Wow. But yeah, how much are we scoring character design and voice acting? I think just having Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill on that list alone give it like the highest possible score. But maybe I'm biased. You know.
I'll give it a 9.5. The 0.5 being my slight dislike for Warden Sharp. Sorry, Rocksteady.
I get tired of the thugs every now and
Oh,
then.
true.
And I get tired, like, Scarecrow's sequences are scary, but I get tired of how whiny he sounds on occasion. Which is why I'm going to give it 9.
9? Okay. I mean, you die to Scarecrow a lot. So, yeah. At the end of their Oblivion.
I'm so sick of hearing that line.
Yeah, I told you all.
I admit it, all right? I'm not the best at that section of gameplay, but don't hate me for it. But yeah, I'm giving it a 9.
All right, well, halfway between 9 and 9.5, 9.25, but I don't really want to get into quarters.
Do you want to flip a coin?
I'll just go with 9 because I'm kind of with you on the thugs department.
All right, cool. Then we're going with a 9.
9.
But yeah, I guess the only reason why we would even want to score at this high is just Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, to be honest.
And even Riddler puts a bit of points into that as well, I think.
But yeah, that's character design and voice acting, and you'll see us next, or rather hear us next, with sound design. Yeah.
One of my favorite parts of Arkham in general is the sound design and soundtrack. You can't. Oh, I almost wandered into that dangerous territory again. You can't feel like this man without having
just say it, just spit it out.
You can't feel like Batman without having a soundtrack to go along with it. I am happy. I feel relieved. But like, imagine if any of you have played Outlast, you know that Outlast without any soundtrack would make it so much less scary. Same thing with Batman Arkham. It's like no soundtrack means you were this guy just flying around and
just going, you know.
Yeah, even then, unless you turn the game volume down. But yeah, you don't feel as epic. It's like taking it's like taking a soundtrack away from a movie.
Yeah.
You lose that immersion going on, or you're setting the mood.
Because they've just used these excellent tracks.
It's amazing for a starter studio at the time.
To name a few of them, I need to think of it. Danny, why don't you name something?
Yeah, we'll cover soundtrack in a second, but let's talk about the Combat and Predator sounds, just some of the sound design.
I need a minute to remember some soundtracks, I guess.
So Combat, it's very basic stuff, but it's the satisfaction of hearing your batarang squish out your hand.
Yeah, just hit someone with a thwack on their hand. Yeah.
And like these that happens when you hit someone, like the bats flying around after you hit someone off, and the of the back claw, and it's
instead of just vocalizing these, we'll probably try to add some sound.
I should do Foley.
Oh my god.
Just my voice, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just have Danny with his impressions. We'll have some impression sound design.
But even in Predator, it's like when you hit someone back, and it's like that nice, satisfying sound, and then you pull your hand over, and then it's like boom, 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 boom. It's top tier, boys.
But with a bit of contrast to what Danny was saying, one thing that I didn't like about the sound design, I loved everything about what Daniel said, but one thing I didn't like specifically well, not didn't like, but rather got tired of were the sounds that Batman makes when he gets killed. You know, the ohs and the ahs.
Well, you're getting killed a lot, aren't you?
And let me be, man. It's kind of funny. I know it. I know they.
Oh,
I know. I know they meant well with those sounds, but for me at least, it's just a little dumb. It's a little cliche.
Can you imagine Kevin Conroy
Just going, ugh. But yeah, I didn't like that. I felt like they were a little too cheesily done.
And even like Batman going from one thug to another, is like, whoa,
Yeah, oh god, even
Whoa.
those. When
Yeah.
the sounds that he makes when he evades. That's what I remembered right
whoa,
now.
yeah, exactly.
It's just a little funny and a little dumb, you know. But yeah, that's one thing I didn't like. I mean, I am nitpicking, I will admit, but it's important to note those as well, I guess. We can't, as much as we love it, and we can't be as nice as we want to be. But yeah, that was something I didn't like. But something I loved was the ambience, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just the soundtrack in general. So we've got 3 tracks for you all. One that I chose, one that Migs chose, and
one that we both agreed on. Surprisingly enough.
Yeah, somehow. So we're going to play these. One is called Sneaky Bat. One is called, oh yeah, I think it's Stealthy Bat, isn't it? I always mess that up.
Is it sneaky or stealthy?
I think it's Stealthy Bat.
Oh, you'll know when you hear the track after we say what we think it is.
I'll put like a dialogue on the screen so if you don't want to listen to the music, you can just skip to when
we talk about it. Yeah.
Start talking about it. But we've got Stealthy Bat, the Overworld, and the Batcave. Enjoy.
Those were the tracks.
Beautiful as ever.
Chills all the time. But yeah, the first one was called
Stealthy Bat.
Stealthy Bat? Sneaky Bat? Stealthy? What is it? I'm saying stealthy, yeah, stealthy.
I should mention that all of these are not part of the official soundtrack, so you won't be able to find them on Spotify or anything like that. The point is, Stealthy Bat means a lot to me because I remember going into intensive treatment a lot because I would always play that starter sequence where I would kicking open the vent, pushing it aside and seeing that guy picking up the gun from the guard. I would play that start over a lot. Like I would very rarely finish the game. I would always start it over and I would always see that I'm like, oh man, like that's that start bit,
Iconic.
It's really iconic. That defines Asylum for me.
For me, the second track that we played, The Overworld. Oh wow! It was so it's from when Batman walks up to that little
he escapes
overhang, right?
Yeah, he escapes intensive treatment.
Yeah. So right after where Daniel loved it, I guess. When he walks up to this overhang and looks at the whole asylum. It's a cutscene, and alongside that cutscene, this track starts playing. And geez, it's an understatement for me to even say that I have chills when I hear it and listen to it, and even play that cutscene because boy oh boy, I even to this date I get transported right back to when I did my first playthrough of this game, and yeah, it's just an awe-inspiring moment. Such a beautiful cutscene alongside such a well-designed track, because it really just puts the goosebumps on my flesh, you know. And yeah, it's beautiful piece of music, beautiful piece of music. But yeah, well, both me and Danny agreed on with what was probably
Before
our
we jump to
favorite.
that, your one that you chose, the overworld, it shows the player there's more to the game than
Yeah.
just intensive treatment.
Yeah, it's at that point you know that there's a
Open
map.
world.
Yeah,
An open world, yeah. Because immediately after then, Oracle even says, I've added the location to the map. I'm like, oh my god, I got a map.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's so much more to this game than just this one little building.
And that track itself just does so much with introducing all of that to us, you know, by just inspiring so much awe in our minds at that moment, and then giving us all of this information.
It's pushing its immersion into you.
Yeah.
Very strongly.
Very true.
Just the way the Batman walks up to the ledge there and just kind of looks at the moon. Just there. It's very powerful.
It's my background for my Arkham Asylum save on
your banner.
My banner, sorry, on Steam. Yeah, I loved that moment in the game. Such an iconic moment. But yeah, that was me rambling. Where both me and Danny agreed on was, I think, our favorite moment, sort of.
Probably in all of Arkham.
It's the Batcave cutscene that we talked about earlier as well, and earlier on in the podcast, when we talked about cutscenes on graphics. It's the soundtrack that accompanies this cutscene. It's so well done, right? The sound design of the cutscene.
It's overwhelmingly Batman. I'm not going to say it, because I think that'd be like the 10th time this podcast, and we've only like 25% through the trilogy. So
be prepared, ladies and gents. Be prepared. He's going to say it a lot more. But yeah, on a serious note, that soundtrack, so well executed, and the design that goes alongside that soundtrack of, you know, the cape stretching out, and the whooshes, and that sliding on gravel sound when Batman lands in that, you know, outcrop.
And the camera angles are just so epic.
Yeah, but more on the sound design itself, because, you know, the sound design for accentuating those camera angles is very important.
Yeah,
right?
True.
Because, I mean, a lot of you out there who do content creation would know that no matter how good your video is, you're not going to sell it without good audio.
Yeah.
Right?
Audio is like a whole sense.
Yeah.
You can't sell a video without visuals.
Yeah. But, yeah, it was just so well done. It's so well done that to this date, I could watch that same cutscene over and over again and still be satisfied.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not even an exaggeration. We've played this cutscene for no apparent reason on YouTube every now and then, just to give us chills and remind ourselves of better times. But yeah, such a good cutscene.
Inspiring.
Yeah, such a good piece of sound design. But yeah, one thing overall that we should state is the use of music throughout the game to set the mood has been very well done. I think that's very apparent in the things that we've
Absolutely. I can't think of a single flaw
in
for
the
Arkham Asylum soundtrack.
Yeah.
No, obviously Arkham City is my favorite for soundtrack, but I still can't fault Arkham Asylum at all.
Yeah. On scoring, sound design and game score, 9.5 for me, man.
10.
You know what? I'll go with you on that.
10?
10 decks.
Awesome.
But yeah, if you think that we're wrong for this, please mention it in the comments.
Yeah, we'd love to hear some opinions on this.
Yeah, but personally, at least between the both of us, the sound design in this game really sold it.
It was perfect. Yeah. I couldn't think of a better composer for it than Nick Arundel.
But yeah, join us next with bugs, or rather lack thereof, in the game. Or are there no bugs in the game? But yeah, see you then. And we're back with talking about bugs. Side note, I hate bugs.
Richard's about to say that.
But yeah, I also hate bugs in games. And Asylum, given its age, was bound to have a few bugs here and there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'll find dozens of compilations online on YouTube with bugs and whatnot in the game.
But I think a lot of those people are just dying to get a game a bit of negative.
Just give it a bit of sauce,
Yeah.
But personally, being as honest as we can, we have to say that we've come across a few bugs.
Yeah, we can't sugarcoat this to the point where it's just Candyland. Yeah,
in the sense of creating a fair review, we need to point it out. But yeah, one bug that got very annoying for the both of us was sometimes ground takedowns don't fall through.
Yeah, right? Yeah. While I was trying to record some footage for this game, I encountered that quite a few times, at least 5 times over the space of an hour.
And that gets really tiresome, especially when you're doing a challenge map and trying to rack up a good combo, right?
Trying to rack up a free flow and you get...
God, the amount of times that I've had to hit restart for a challenge map drives me insane.
Oh, tell me about it. I've been doing this for 10 years back now.
And the thing is, you need those high scores for those challenge maps because you can't 100% the game without them.
Yeah.
And that's not a bug, but it's worth mentioning because, it's... The fact that a bug exists that acts as a problem to that is very annoying.
It is, because if you're in have got a really good free flow going, and then you get messed over by something you don't have any control over.
Yeah, you have to start all over again,
Yeah, especially if you're around 4.
Yeah, and just 1,000 points away from getting that 3 stars. Well, boo-hoo, you got to start all over.
Absolutely, it's... But hey, again, our disclaimer is... 2009 game, I'm sure they couldn't stop everything before they had to start development of Arkham City.
Yeah, true. Would be nice to see a patch, but again,
11 years later, very unlikely.
True. Another bug would be, what was it? The hitbox inconsistencies, right?
Yeah.
I remember this one time I was playing, I think it was at the very beginning, was it? I'm not too sure. But I was quite a bit away, standing quite a bit away from a thug, and he wasn't facing me or anything. But this dude just punched the air opposite where I was, and I somehow took the hit for that. I was like, "Wait, what?" Yeah. We'll try to get some footage in for you.
I haven't seen that bug a lot though. So it's not very common.
It's not very common. But yeah, it gets a little annoying with a few things like that. Again, in challenge maps, mostly. It's fine having these bugs in the main campaign because, it's a campaign. You're going to make it through. It doesn't matter if you catch 1 or 2 hits. But in the challenge maps, when you're trying to get that free flow combo, boy oh boy, does it get annoying, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's...
besides those 2, there's nothing much else we can say.
Yeah, because honestly, those are the only problems I can think of that haven't been stomped out. You? I off the top of my head, I can't think of anything else I've had issues with. I think you got frustrated at some of that poison ivy hitbox.
Oh, yeah, true. Might be because I'm just a shit player, but...
Likely.
I hate you, Danny. But, what was it? Yeah, Poison Ivy did get a bit annoying. Even you would agree, right?
Yeah,
cut me some slack here.
Poison Ivy on hard mode is a bit of a nightmare. I
still have PTSD from that playthrough.
Yikes. Yeah. Yeah, it was,
a little annoying. But yeah, that was that. Was there anything else? Oh, do you remember that challenge map that we were trying to do on my laptop a while ago with, it was an extreme predator map. The explosive gel in 3 different walls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit tricky. Because we were trying to brute force our way through this, and I eventually caved and watched something on YouTube. And what was it? I saw this one guy do 2 explosive... So, for context here, the challenge in this challenge map, one of them, was take down 3 henchmen at once with 3 different walls using explosive gel.
For those who are interested, the map is Silent Night Extreme.
Yeah, that was it. But yeah, the video that we saw had this guy spray explosive gel twice on the same wall, right?
That's
it was
right.
it was a big wall.
Yeah,
but
it was probably 2 by 1, right?
But it was the same wall.
Yeah.
You know, and he still got the achievement, and that was a little. I mean, I guess it's sort of a bug, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's an oversight.
It's an oversight,
is I think the proper word for that.
Yeah, again, we're just nitpicking over
Yeah,
here.
we're trying to find something so we aren't terribly biased. Oh, there's no bugs in my favorite game. My favorite game was flawless and perfect. Yeah, no, we're not.
Yeah.
As much as we would want Arkham Asylum to be perfect, every game has.
It's not,
flaws.
right? We need to be as honest as we can, and this is us being as honest as we can.
Yeah. Like what we'll cover next week is Arkham City, and we even found some stuff that I've never seen before from that.
Yeah.
And I'm quite surprised because nothing's ever gone past me before like that. But yeah,
I think that's it.
That's pretty much all we have for bugs.
Yeah.
I've already kind of got my. Yeah, I'm going to give this a 6. I know that's pretty low, but that ground takedown thing can really destroy.
Yeah.
Like a good 15 minutes of progress.
Very true.
Especially if you're a completionist like moi.
Yeah. Very true. I'm gonna jump on the board with you on that. I'm gonna say 6 too.
All right.
But yeah, 6 decks for bugs, or rather lack thereof of bugs. But yeah, that was our score, and join us next with collectibles and achievements. And boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to say about this one. But yeah, see you then.
Riddler trophies. That's what makes every Arkham veteran shudder. If you're anything like me, I will play every single save available on every single of the Arkham games, and each time I mean, in total, I've probably collected like a total of 4,000 Riddler trophies.
And no, that's not an exaggeration.
That is, unfortunately, an exaggeration that is over like 10 years of me playing Arkham.
What he's trying to say is he has an addiction problem over here, right?
So
cut the guy some slack.
What I'm trying to say is I have no life. No.
But yeah, the collectibles and achievements in this game, specifically the Riddler trophies. Good God, man, they take so long to do, but it's satisfying.
It's satisfying. This guy here didn't believe it the first time. I said, have you gotten all the Riddler trophies yet? And he said, yeah, I'll get around to it.
That's because I don't have a mental problem like my good mate over here where I have to get everything, but he kind of instilled that in me over time. So I guess he won in the end.
But hey, he's grateful now, ain't you?
I don't have much of a choice, do I? But yeah, God, Riddler trophies in Arkham Asylum. It's the smallest amount of Riddler trophies in the whole series.
200 or so,
yeah,
right?
240. Yeah, 240, yeah. But yeah, it's a very satisfying process at the very end. It's a grind. It is a total grind, just like all the other Arkham games. But what you get at the end with the Riddler getting caught, again, spoilers, but with the Riddler getting caught, it's nice. It
is. It's like, oh, that's done now.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of another problem, because once you're done with the save, you're done.
Yeah.
There's no point free roaming from there on out. There's no thugs to hit.
Yeah. You have a few crazies, right? No, even then.
Even then, once they're eliminated, they're gone.
Yeah, true. The plants are also gone.
Yeah.
Just free roam an empty map.
Yeah.
And cry a little bit on the inside like we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Riddler trophies are well done. We've already mentioned the Chronicles of Arkham earlier, but that's again a good example of setting up a collectible that you're incentivized to get, right?
Yeah.
With the story.
It's hard to say no to a good story.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when it's as dark as this one.
Yeah, Chronicles of Arkham, man, it was nice. It was cryptic. It was dark. It was a little disturbing even.
It was a little disturbing, like the way that, spoilers, Sharp says,
how he beat up.
I displayed the knife and told him how I was going to use it.
Yeah, it's a game made for children, and you have stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it's very Arkham Gothic.
Yeah, very true, very true. It was a good incentive to keep getting those collectibles. The tapes we've already mentioned earlier. Again, another well-placed incentive to go after hunting them.
Diverse. They connect to the main story. For example, Joker connects to Dr. Young.
Yeah.
Harley connects to Joker.
Hearing those tapes with how Harley progressed from being a psychiatrist to Joker's right-hand woman, if you would, it's so well played out in the tapes. It's such a nice storyline to listen to because it gives you context. For someone jumping into Arkham with absolutely no idea of who Batman is, it still gives you some context to love and connect to the characters. Which is good because that's another example of using a collectible to not only give you a percentage of completion, but also to give players a chance to love the game more, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's so much depth. That's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, true. And it only gets worse from Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
But
or better, depending on how you perceive it.
If you're not a psycho like Danny who loves collecting Riddler trophies in his spare time, yeah, better, I guess. But yeah, that was collectibles. When it comes to achievements, I'm still quite traumatized because I haven't got all of them and I don't know how I'm going to.
You have a lot to look forward to, my
I have a lot to cry about is more like it. But yeah, looking at the achievements on Steam at least, there's some crazy ones in there, don't you think, Danny?
There is. For example, Perfect Night is probably one of the more taxing ones.
Really? I was thinking Mano a Mano.
Oh yeah, Mano a Mano is hard unless you do it with just the two Titans in the Titan room.
So, for context here, Mano a Mano is a Steam achievement where the only way you can get it is if you take out two Titans.
One Titan.
One Titan. Well, you have to use two.
Yeah, we have to use
But it's if you take out one Titan without using batarangs. So, the only way you can go about it is if you have two Titans and line them up in such a way where one runs into the other. Danny over here did it in the one before the last map, right, in the campaign.
Yeah.
On hard mode. So yeah, he's a little scary with what he did.
Fun tip, you can do this with just one Titan, but you have to evade over them. Hit, evade, hit, evade, hit, evade, hit.
Which is, well, near impossible, at least for the average.
Especially with surrounding you.
Yeah.
And on hard mode.
On hard mode, good God. I don't know how I made it through without even with not even trying to get the achievement, But yeah, that achievement is beastly. And another thing that I think is somewhat unfair on the game's part is that you can't 100% a save without the challenge maps.
I think that encourages a lot of determination for skill. If you're 100% a save, it's I'm skilled.
That is true, but the point where I think it's unfair is you have to 3-star these insane challenge maps.
Yeah.
For the average player, that's almost undoable.
The extreme ones are very difficult.
Yeah,
they are pattern-based, they are not improv-based.
Yeah, you have to study them, quite literally.
Yeah. It does come down to studying patterns of the thugs, comes up to map layout. You need to know everything back to front, forward, back, sideways, all the other weird analogies I can possibly use for that. And the combat ones, you need to free flow. There is no way around that. Because if you don't get free flow, then you don't get that bonus.
Personally, my gripes are with the Predator ones. Because I think they ask for some unrealistic challenges in the Predator maps, in the Predator challenge maps. Because the one we were talking about earlier, 3 henchmen, 3 separate walls at the same time. That, good God, I don't know how I would even do it without help, without Daniel or someone else who's been playing this for longer than I have. Because it's very, very hard to do that. And at least from a personal standpoint, I find it a little unfair of them.
Yeah, that's fair enough for, again, you've been playing for less than a year. but you've done pretty well. But still, it is taxing for a new player. I know I certainly struggled with it
True.
when I was starting out. Yeah,
Even
like
yourself, you got your first 100% what 2 years ago, right?
probably 1 year ago, I think.
On Asylum.
Yeah, I did it last year.
Yeah, and this man has been playing these games for 10 years, ladies and gents. So, that says something
Yeah.
about how hard Asylum is for an whole game.
Yeah, for sure. Like, even remember that record room one
The record room.
in the mansion?
Yes.
There's one where you have to use your remote batarang to take out 3 people
At once?
with one remote batarang. Yeah, and that is not the same controls as City.
Yeah, you have to use WASD to control your remote battery. I hated that.
It was painful because it's not inverse either. I'm used to inverse controls, like up and down. Like when I press down, I'm expecting to go up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway.
On a positive note, it is good that the game incentivizes you to get like a hard mode completion. Again, I've been taking a bit of a dump on the challenge maps, but I have to appreciate the fact that they give you a specific achievement for completing the game on hard mode. What's it called? Biggest bang, right?
Biggest bang. So big bang for easy, bigger bang for normal, and biggest bang for hard mode.
Yeah. And getting that is rather satisfying and incentivizing for most players to try out hard mode without the counter icons and whatnot.
That is a mission for anyone starting for the first time.
Yeah, you don't want to do it on your first playthrough, trust me, you don't.
Because our friend Kodamain always tries to start stuff on hard mode.
Yeah.
And I imagine if he ran by that policy, like when he first played Arkham Asylum, I don't think he'd be as passionate about the game.
Yeah,
as
for sure.
Now. Because it is hard. They do not put the HARD there for no reason.
But yeah, it's still nice to see that there are incentives to play a game in a harder mode. Even back then, and something that leads on from that is most players that love the game want to get better at free flow, right? And that's also because of the achievements that surround getting better at free flow, right? There's some achievements for the challenge maps, right? What was it called? Combat Gold or something like that?
Yeah, Combat Gold, Predator Gold.
Yeah.
All the jazz.
And with free flow. Yeah, that's right. I can English, ladies and gents. I can English very, very well. But yeah, with free flow combat achievements, why it's important is because when you get better at it, you get more satisfaction out of a combat map.
Oh yeah.
Seeing Batman fly from one guy to the next.
Well, also seamlessly using your gadgets properly, stunning, evading, takedowns, throws.
It's so satisfying, and with having achievements to tell players that you should try doing this to get this achievement, sets it up in such a way that when these players actually get that achievement, they're already satisfied with how good they are and with how good it looks on screen as well. So, it's a good way of keeping people hooked on a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt.
But yeah, I think that wraps it up for collectibles and achievements.
Yeah, it does. So overall...
Scoring this, I think we should split it in 5. So X out of 5 for collectibles and X out of 5 for achievements, because they're a little different, right?
True.
So for collectibles and achievements, for collectibles,
4 out of 5, I'd say.
4 out of 5, same.
For achievements, 3 out of 5, I'd say.
Yeah, same here, because as much as we love some of the ways that they've used achievements to incentivize people to play, we have to admit that sometimes they go a little too far.
Yeah, it is a bit too tricky.
Yeah.
To be honest. I mean, again, City is... We'll get there next week, but City is probably worse for this. Honestly, I think all the Arkham games are...
A completionist nightmare.
so demanding for achievements.
Yeah.
But yeah.
3 out of 5 for achievements and 4 out of 5 for collectibles. That puts us at a total of 8.
7, because we're doing 4 for the...
Oh yeah, I can't math.
Yeah.
I cannot math. Why am I in uni? I can't do math. Jeez.
Right.
Yeah, 7 out of 10 decks for achievements and collectibles, or collectibles and achievements, whatever you want to call it. We'll be back next with extras and DLC. So yeah, see y'all then. And we're back with extras and DLC. Again, old game, old times. DLC wasn't as big of a thing because Ubisoft didn't start charging everyone for DLC for the whole game.
Downloadable content was kind of unheard of.
Yeah, at that time. But it was still well done, I think. On the subject of DLC, there's one gripe I have. There was this Joker DLC, right?
Yeah, I just heard of this before. I hadn't seen it.
Exactly, because I didn't know it existed because it's not existent on PC. There's this Joker DLC where you can play as Joker for the challenge maps. You have your own custom move set and your own gadgets. God, I like looking at the gameplay. I'm salivating to play as Joker because it's so satisfying just watching him beat Commissioner Gordon into a pulp. Or shoot some poor security guard in the face. Maybe I'm a little bit of an anarchist, but I just love watching that, and I love to play as Joker, but I can't because I'm on PC. But on the subject of just judging this DLC, I think it's very well done. I think it was a nice little piece that they offered players.
Yeah. Although then it was a bit too OP in some situations.
Yeah, it was purely for comic, comic reasons.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, it was nice of them. The Infinity maps and Premium Challenge maps, also nice of them, right? Because we have those on PC.
They were alright.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
As much as I love the Infinity map, I have to agree with Daniel here because it wasn't really a judging skill.
Yeah, I just, I love Arkham some of the bits, but I never found interest in those maps.
Crime Alley, though, is nice.
Crime Alley is nice, but again, it doesn't benefit me in any way, shape, or form. It's thugs with the same build, loadout, all that kind of stuff.
It's nothing different.
Put me in a different setting and alright.
True, very true. But then another DLC component that I love is the Armored Batman skin. What about you, Danny?
Yeah, Armored Batman skin is cool, although I think I've used it too much to appreciate it still, if that makes any sense at all.
That does. I mean, you do get sick of seeing it all the time. But one thing that I really wish Rocksteady gave us was the ability to use that skin in the main story.
Yeah, I mean, I think they would have let us do that if they had done a New Game Plus. But again, that was unheard of.
True.
Why would they let us play the same game? They probably didn't even have the understanding of what New Game Plus would be.
Yeah. But, I mean, on the subject of keeping this review fair, we have to bring up gripes that we have, right?
Yeah, of course.
And one of my gripes was that, well, those two things at least, with the Joker DLC being unavailable for PC and not being able to fully utilize the Armored Batman skin outside of the challenges. But yeah, that's about it for me. What about you, Danny?
Well, there is a lot of obviously extras and stuff. So you've got continuous story, challenge mode, extras, but then you've got your character trophies as well, which I think look awesome. I always love looking at the character trophies.
That's right.
Games, especially some of them more than others.
We'll let you figure out which ones on your own time.
Yeah.
On a serious note, it's nice, looking at them in retrospect, because you have to unlock those character trophies.
You unlock them through other trophies.
True, yeah. Again,
incentive to do your collectibles.
Yeah, because that's not something you have to buy. That's something you have to unlock with your own time.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's good of them to use that. But yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
On my end. What about you?
Yeah, I'm all done here. So extras and DLC, 2 out of 5.
For just extras, right?
For just DLC, yeah.
For just DLC. I'm gonna join you with 2.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page.
Also, wait, some context for our listeners, because extras and DLC are kind of like two components. They're doing the same thing that we did with collectibles and achievements. We're going X out of 5 for extras and X out of 5 for DLC.
Yeah.
So for DLC, we've scored a 2 out of 5. Yeah?
Yeah.
And for extras, we're scoring it how much? 3?
4, to be honest. I do really like those trophies. And you like the Diamondbats, right?
3.5.
3.5. All right, cool. That was between our original ones. So
Yeah.
3.5 plus 2.
5.5.
5.5. Yeah.
So that's 5.5 decks for extras and DLC for Arkham Asylum. And we'll be back next with our very final subtopic for this review, which is replayability. And yeah, hopefully you'll catch us there.
Before we do this little next bit on replayability, I was just talking with Migs here, and we were saying that we were being as harsh as we can possibly be. We don't like being harsh about one of our most valued games, but at the same time, we are here to offer our opinion as actual dedicated members of the Arkham community, and we're doing the best we can to take a bit of a poo on it, although we are reluctant and puckering.
We need to be as real and as straightforward as we can,
Yeah.
right? And we hope that, our opinions don't insult any one of y'all. But if they do, feel free to be vocal about it. We always do love a good spicy debate. At least I do.
Oh, Origin's going to be a mess.
Origins is going to be so fun.
This game is underrated.
But yeah, with that said, we hope you've enjoyed so far, and well, stick around for a little longer because we're going to be talking about our final subtopic, which is replayability.
Replayability, yeah. So replayability, just the wanting to go back or not. I mean, I myself am living proof that this game is very replayable. And I know you were telling me about how you love going back to Arkham Asylum because it's great training grounds.
For sure.
Because in Arkham Knight and even Arkham City, Arkham Origins, you were given so many crutches, so many other alternatives.
Yeah.
I mean, I would even argue that the blade dodge takedown is a little bit of a crutch.
Yeah, it is. Because well, in comparison on that specific topic, when you had those little buggers with the blades in Asylum, you couldn't dodge that.
You couldn't dodge
You had to evade that.
Half the time you're already out of time. You're going to get switched.
Sliced. Yeah. But in City, in Origins, and Night, you can dodge those blade attacks and also optionally do a takedown without even having to have a combo.
With free flow.
Yeah.
Enabled, where everything slows down, gives you a bit more room.
Yeah. So again, what we're trying to say is the fact that Asylum had the most bare bones Batman in all the games gives you a lot of reason to go back to it because it's the best way to judge how good you are at the series, right?
Yeah, if you were struggling with, for example, if you started with City, Origins Night, not only are you dead to me, but you're also... But if you're struggling with those, you should really try going back to Asylum.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, including Migs, was very reluctant to go back to a 2009 game.
Yeah.
Understandable. Completely understandable. Don't forget, Minecraft is also a 2009 game.
True.
Look at how much that has boomed.
Crisis as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everything, words are beyond me in the fact that people really need to just trust Rocksteady in a sense and go back to the OG, train yourself.
Because we're trying our best not to be sheep here in how we love this game, right? And I think it's important for us to say that this is not an exaggeration when we say that we genuinely want to go back and play Asylum every now and then.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we just finished our playthrough of Asylum.
Yeah.
And in preparing for this podcast, I listened to that track, Stealthy Bat. I was like, oh my god, I already missed a song.
Yeah, same. I just loaded up my Steam account, and just one look at that banner that I have up for Asylum just made me want to click play and start all over again, because it's that fun and it's that good at keeping me interested. Even 9 years after, even 11 years actually. 11 years?
11 years.
11 years after the game was made.
Almost 11 years.
Yeah. over a decade, pretty much. And yeah, the fact that you can be a genuinely good judge of how good you are at, well, not just how good you are at Batman games, but how good your reaction time is in a game. Through this whole game makes it very replayable.
Oh yeah, it trains you. This is such a Zoomer thing to say, but it helps your hand-eye coordination and your reaction time, and it makes you a very this trains you for your real-life situations. You know what I mean?
As much as we we admit that we sound like your standard gamer kid who just loves speaking about all the advantages there are to staring at a computer screen. This is true. This is very true.
Yeah, just don't try and jump off a rooftop. That's the best advice.
Or even with a cape, idiot, you're gonna die.
Some cheap cape Superman cape. I'm gonna fly.
God.
Do a fucking dive bomb in the country.
But yeah, it's still a really good game to go back to, and the overall epicness that you just have. I think we haven't talked about that enough, to be honest.
Yeah. It's
the overall epicness of just playing as Batman,
What does it make you feel like?
It makes me feel like Batman. But I just keep wanting to go back to Asylum because, like I've said, because it's the most bare bones Batman, it really gives you that idea that you are a human being who's smarter than every other guy out there, and you can just take on everyone with the most minimal tech.
No laser eyes.
No frost breath. No bulletproof suit.
Yeah.
You take damage, especially if you're playing on hard mode.
Yeah, I forgot to mention this entire time. For battle damage.
Ooh, yeah. That's another aspect in how much you want to go back to the game, right? Because it looks so good.
It looks amazing. It reminds you that Batman is wearing this Kevlar, admittedly Kevlar, which is strong, of course, but he's still human. You see the blood coming out of his skin, and you know that he is vulnerable.
Yeah. And I think all of this ties into giving us veterans this lead. Well, not myself. I can't consider myself a veteran yet. But at least for Daniel,
Almost.
For this whole Batman boom over here, it gives veterans a sense of nostalgia. When you hear a track, when you see a picture or a screenshot.
It's with anything, not just games.
Yeah, and it's just there's such a wholesome experience to Arkham Asylum that nostalgia isn't polluted with a sense of that game.
It's probably a sense of this is where it all began.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. There's no well. As soon as you see a screenshot from Arkham Asylum, at least to us, we don't think bugs or dumb DLC that I had to buy. Spend an arm and sell an arm and leg for DLC or whatever. We think, wow, it was that game.
Yeah.
We have some good memories with that game too, but even more so than that, it's just the fact that it was such a wholesome game. It was such a good game.
Wholesome. Talking about people trying to kill other people while they look at a knife.
I mean, just being Batman and being so selfless, on a serious note.
Yeah, I know.
I know there's violence to the game, but being able to be such a selfless character.
Yeah, it's unseen, and that's why we love the game.
Yeah, so in terms of replayability...
10.
Yeah, same. 10.
That should say something to you guys who want to try Arkham.
Yeah, it's not an exaggeration, because...
We've been as harsh as we can.
And mark my words, one of us is probably going to replay Asylum a few weeks from now again, just because,
Yeah, honestly, there's nothing that would stop me from going back to Arkham Asylum.
Same.
For another playthrough.
Same. Very true. But yeah, that's all in all, we've hopefully covered everything that we should.
Yeah, we did a bit of brainstorming beforehand, saw what kind of breaks down to any game that we would take to the best of our ability. And we have a final score.
Wait, let's give them a quick recap, of each score for each category.
Sure. So for the plot and script, we gave it an 8.5.
Yeah.
For gameplay, we gave it another 8.5.
Yep.
For graphics and technicalities, we gave it a 9 because it's a little bit out of date.
Yeah, and we have to be lenient with how old it is and how good it looked.
Yeah.
Right?
Well-designed atmosphere, 6.5.
Yeah, that's right.
Why did we drop that down so much again?
Mostly because of the limitations, I think,
that's right? Yeah, because we were a bit limited.
Yeah, but even though, again, important to note, the atmosphere was amazing.
It was brilliant. Character design and voice acting is a 9. We can thank Kevin Conroy and Mike Hamill for that.
Yeah, for sure. There's no way we could mark it any lower than that, being very honest.
Sound design and game...
Straight 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Trust us.
I don't even regret that, you know.
I don't regret that either. Bugs, or lack thereof. Unfortunately, there was no lack.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like there's a lot of bugs. There's not a lot of bugs.
But the ones that are existent in the game are very annoying.
Yeah. So we gave that a 6.
Yeah.
Collectibles achievements, 7. Given that achievements can get a little bit
nasty
over a bit longer. Extras and DLC, we gave 5.5 out of 10. I wasn't that much of a fan of Arkham Asylum's DLC, but I think the character trophies pulled that weight back for me because those are really cool to look at.
My gripes with the extras and DLC, again, in a quick recap, was just because there was so much nice DLC that wasn't available for the PC players, and I think it's rather unfair of them to not port it over for PC. Yeah. But that was just my take on it.
And finally, what we just covered was replayability as a 10, and there was nothing that would stop me or Megs from going back to this amazing game.
100%.
Honestly,
100%.
That, truth be told, probably has shaped our lives in some...
Yeah, in some...
cheesy way.
Yeah, in some weird cheesy way. Very true.
Our final... Do you want to read this out, Megs?
What's our final score? No, I'm not good with numbers. You know this.
All right. Math major coming through. Let's see if I can add things up. All right,
you know what? I'm going to use a calculator. I don't trust you, Daniel. I do not trust you.
You don't trust me? All right. So let's 8.5.
8.5 plus...
8.5.
8.5
plus 9.
Plus 9?
Yeah.
Oh, plus 9 plus...
6.5.
6.5
plus 9.
9 plus
10.
10 plus
6.
6 plus
7.
7 plus
5.5.
5.5 plus 10.
10. Got it right, by the way.
Still trust you.
Our final score is 80 decks.
Out of 100.
Not bad.
Again, being as harsh as we can, being as accurate as we can as well. Arkham Asylum, a 2009 game, scores 80 out of 100.
Decks.
But yeah, that's our review on Arkham Asylum, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed it. We hope y'all enjoyed it.
Yeah. For sure.
And whether you loved it or hated it or loved to hate it or hated to love it, I really hope.
Did this game make you feel like that, man?
Yeah, and we both really hope that y'all voice out your opinions down in the comments because we'd love to hear from you.
In fact, if you're coming across this podcast and you haven't played this game before, play it. Come back to us. Tell us what you think.
And yeah, that's about it. We have some future plans for this channel as well. We might even, on the long run, if a lot of y'all want, set up a Discord or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we hope that y'all will stay tuned for whatever else we have.
Absolutely.
We can very confidently say that our next review is going to be on Arkham City.
Yeah, we want to get Arkham out the way.
Yeah.
That sounds a bit negative.
It's taken up so much of our life. We kind of want to get it out of the way. But yeah, that's Arkham Asylum for y'all.
Yeah, thank you all very much, and no one can subscribe, please.
Yeah, like and subscribe. But yeah, join us next week, hopefully, for our next review on Arkham City. And yeah, that's about it. See you all then.
See you later, boys.
And girls.
And girls. And, I'm not going to go there.
Never mind.